Musical Talk, the UK independent musical theatre podcast.
Hello, welcome to Musical Talk. My name is Nick Hudson. I'm sitting here across from the wonderful Andrew Keating. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Nicholas.
How are you?
Hot.
It's not that bad. We've had to turn the fan off due to background noise. We don't like fans in the studio. Andrew, I want to talk to you because as we've gone on this journey, things have started to happen. They're opening. There's lots of shows we need to talk about. But we've been to see a couple of things, haven't we?
We have.
We went to see Tuck Shop, which was an extension of our Christopher Clegg interview that we had, and Chris talked about that. And we went to the opening night, and we saw. I remember you sitting next to me in the theatre, Andrew, and saying, "Nick, I can't wait to hear what you think of Ginny Lemon, who was our host, wasn't she?"
I was very unsure what you'd make of it all. Yes, because that's something very new for you. I think you enjoyed it.
Yeah, she wasn't as outrageous as some of the other acts were. Ginny Lemon didn't cause anyone to walk out, which is funny because I know before we started recording you said Ginny Lemon herself walked out of one of her performances on, was it Drag Race?
Yes, on Drag Race UK.
But lots of musical theatre in the show, which I enjoyed. We had some Dream Girls and we had some Colour Purple, all done to lip syncing, which was quite fun.
Can we just talk about walkouts?
Yes, go on.
When have you ever walked out of something?
You and I walked out of a show that we saw at the Arts Theatre, and it was a one-woman musical starring Denise Van Outen singing the songs of Scott Aikman and Waterman. Do you remember?
I think I've wiped it from my memory.
Probably. It's not that it was a bad show. We always appreciate the effort people put into shows, but we didn't want to see Denise Van Outen play a worse version of herself, did we? Because that's what she was doing.
As I said, I think it's completely lost on me now. That might be for the best.
And the other thing I walked out of...
How rude of us. We didn't walk out. Do you mean we just didn't come back for the second act?
We left in the interval.
Well, that's less rude.
Yes. I've never walked out of a show mid-performance. The only time I've walked out of something else, as in walked out during the interval, was I, with my father, went to see the Tori Amos written musical, The Light Princess.
Oh, at the National.
At the National. And I walked out of pure anger because Tori Amos should not be writing musicals and the National should not be promoting her a so-called ability to write musicals. But that's that's a different story altogether. But we did have some...
Are you trying to be controversial now?
Me? Controversial? Never. We did have some... Well, I noticed that people behind us walked out during one act in particular. Tell us about that act, Andrew.
Well, I think that just enhanced it, because with that particular act, Midget Bardo, it was designed to push buttons. That's partly what it was. It was partly what it was about.
But she's not a drag act, which is interesting, because I was expecting it to be entirely drag, but there's obviously elements of burlesque in this show as well. And she was wonderful. She told a very beautiful story about experiencing something for the first time. And it kind of got a little bit heated, you could say.
X-rated.
Yes, which was wonderful. And it's what you expect from a show like that. So I don't know what people were expecting going to see a kind of... I mean, you had to explain to me what Tuck Shop meant.
I did, yes.
Which I'm learning about the ways. But it was a wonderful evening. It was a bit longer than I was expecting. I think it possibly went on a bit too long. But this show, it kind of has a good... kind of fun, rough round the edges feel, you could say, because it is all conceived in one day, I would think, and then it's a different act every night, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's quite ambitious. I think two weeks of a different show each night in terms of, I guess, prepping it and putting it on.
Yeah. But we wish it all the best of luck. Do go and see it if you want something slightly different. There are some very late evenings for this show, aren't there?
Yes, some 10 o'clock shows.
Yes. 10:30 as well, I noticed.
Or is it 10:30?
Which is way past my bedtime. Sorry, I just had to tell Andrew to get a bit closer to the microphone. You and I went to see some shows yesterday, though, on the day of recording. I went to see Anything Goes, and you went to see Amelie. We talked about Amelie briefly a couple of episodes ago, but it's always good to get other people's opinions. What did you think, Andrew?
I think it's very ambitious and it's very well staged, and they've got puppets. That's always a plus for me. The puppet work was very good. And there's a wonderful nightmare sequence involving Fig people. It was. See, I really like the film.
Okay.
I have really, really fond memories of the film, and I think it's quite hard sometimes transferring something onto the stage, and for it to work successly.
Because it's been 20 years since the film came out. Is it strong in your memory?
There were a lot of things that came back about the plot that maybe I'd forgotten over the years, but I think it's.
Remind us what the plot is, because I can't remember, and I saw it when it was on its national tour. I saw it at the Wimbledon Theatre with Jonathan. Give us and me a reminder of the plot.
Well, she basically fixes up people's lives, doesn't she? Like, brings people together, makes things better, but she's struggling to put her own life together and engage.
Could say it's a bit like Clueless in that aspect.
I think it's maybe where they need more time to develop those relations. In a film, it's easier to kind of develop a relationship, isn't it? Between, say,
well, I mean, you could argue that songs do it more than you can in a film. And I remember the songs being particularly beautiful in Amelie, especially, as I said last time, there's a lovely song in Act 2 about a painting, which was very beautiful. The thing with this production of Amelie compared to the Broadway production is that this is dare I say, it's a bit more classily done, because the American one was all American accents and it was a bit brash and over the top. By the way, do you know where the term over the top comes from?
No.
Andrew? So when you think of Busby Berkeley, what do you think?
Organised.
Yes, but there's a particular shot that you think of.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And that was known as the over the top shot. So that's where the term "it's a bit over the top" comes from. Just thought I'd share that bit of nugget, full of facts, as you'd say.
Yeah, full of something.
That's true. You may look it up. But yeah, so the American production was kind of a bit. I didn't see it, but I've heard the cast recording, and it's not as beautiful or French as the new one is. And did the actor-musician element work for you?
Oh yeah, I like actor-musician elements, and I could hear like people around me talking who were very like, "Oh, aren't they clever? Doing all that moving around and playing an instrument."
12 instruments all at the same time.
Yeah. I don't know, but with the accents, you could have done it in British accents.
Yeah, but
otherwise it's a bit like ooh la la.
Well, you said it was a bit hello, didn't you?
Alice says it's not your words. It wasn't quite as extreme as that.
What are you saying?
But I did enjoy it. I think I did enjoy it. I didn't really know how well it would translate. And as I said, I think it's very ambitious. It doesn't quite pull it off in parts. But there's enough in there to kind of, I mean, it's that staging. We talked about some of the stagecraft. So Amelie has her little bedroom upstairs on the upper part of the set. And she gets up and down via a light shade that she hangs onto.
Why, though no one knows, but it
looks amazing.
It's certainly a moment
it's really impressive.
It's a coup de théâtre that stays with you, isn't it? Or,
oui.
Or coup de theatre, as we say in English. But yeah, Amelie playing at is it the Criterion?
It is at the Criterion,
yes.
Underground.
And of course, I saw it at the Wimbledon, where it was too big a venue, and this is a much smaller, intimate venue.
Criterion's a nice space and a nice size for it.
Yeah. And we're thrilled that it's playing. And I mean, it's weird. There seems to be a couple of shows that everyone is seeing, and that is one of them. Another one is Anything Goes, which I saw yesterday on a whim. I managed to get a seat on the day in the very interesting Barbican Theatre. Now, we haven't talked much about...
Why is it interesting?
Well, it's impossible to find, first of all.
In this well-connected world?
Well, especially when the well-connected world, you're looking at your phone and it directs you to the cinema. Because the last thing you and I, Andrew, saw at the Barbican... Do you remember what the last thing we saw at the Barbican...
Did we go to Les Mis together?
No, we didn't. We went to a very weird... This isn't a musical, it was a concert, but it was a vampire. Was it Nosferatu or something? Or
yeah, was it Nosferatu with a live orchestra?
Yes.
Is that what we went to?
Yes, and it took me about 40 minutes to find the venue because I seemed to be walking on rooftops like Bert and Mary from Mary Poppins. But once you find the venue, it's the theatre itself, of course, where Les Mis started, and then when they did the 25th anniversary there, which is the production that's now playing, well, soon will be playing in the West End.
With the whirly fall into the water.
Yes, one of the cleverest bits of staging I've seen, where he's sucked into the back of the proscenium arch, which is quite fun. Quite like to do that myself, really. And you get the projection of the as if you're watching him from a bird's eye view.
Over the top.
Yes, well, yes, very good, Andrew. See, well done.
I've learned.
So the Barbican is very interesting. There's no central aisle. There's massive amounts of legroom, which is lovely. So if people are late, which they often are because they can't find the venue, you don't need to be standing up to let them through in front of you. Very comfortable. The safety curtain is the most bizarre thing. I put a video of it on Twitter. Do you remember it, Andrew? It's like a silver gilded mirror thing that splits from the middle. So the bottom half goes down into the stage, and the top half goes up into the stage, and it's a very, very comfortable, well equipped, air conditioned theatre, I think, which was beautiful.
Are you reviewing the theatre now?
Well, it's a theatre we don't really mention because it's not in the West End.
What other productions have we seen or remember being on there? They transferred the Regent's Park Jesus Christ Superstar there for a while, which I didn't see that in the Barbican.
Talk about Jesus Christ Superstar in a second, because I know there's something you want to talk about. I saw Les Mis there. I saw a production there when I was a child of A Christmas Carol that listeners of Musical Talk will know what an effect that had upon me, directed by Ian Judge. And I saw, when I was very, very young, a Teddy Bear's Picnic production there that had Father Christmas in it. Other than that, Les Mis was the last thing I saw.
Oh,
there.
did they have South Pacific on there?
They might have, and I think I saw that. We went to see that, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. But it's a big venue with a space for a big orchestra, and Anything Goes is currently playing there, which I saw yesterday. With a great cast, Sutton Foster from Broadway. Now, this is the 2011, I believe, production from Broadway that has been brought over. With Sutton Foster, and we have the British theatrical legend that is Gary Wilmot in it, and Felicity Kendall, and also what's his name?
Robert Lindsay.
Robert Lindsay from that sitcom about families, and also did Oliver.
Because Robert Lindsay and Gary Wilmot were both in Me and My Girl, weren't they, at separate times?
Okay, yes. Nice link there, Andrew. Thank you. Which I didn't see. Did you ever see Me and My Girl?
No.
The Noel Gay musical. The wonderful Leaning on the Lamppost.
Yeah, but we really like Gary Wilmot from the Palladium Pantos.
Yes, and also he was doing...
Because he always learns the really complicated...
And writes them as well.
Yeah. Like the Patter songs, I guess. There was the one with all the tube stations in, where he kind of goes through all of them, and just that feat of memory.
Yes. And also, before lockdown, he was in The Prince of Egypt as well. So, yeah, I mean, he's always in work, which is very good, and it's lovely to see him in Anything Goes. I've never seen Anything Goes. Have you seen Anything Goes?
No.
Because
when was the last big production?
It was, I believe, the national production in 2003.
And was that Elaine Page and John Barrowman?
I don't know. It was Ruthie Henschel, I think, did it. John Barrowman might have been in it. But we spoke to, on the podcast years ago, Gareth Valentine, who did the music arrangements for that. But this is it's a silly show. I mean, it's exactly what you think a 1935 Cole Porter musical would be. The plot is something about, there's lots of mistaken identity, there's a love triangle, there's gangsters, it's all on a boat, everyone gets married to each other at the end, and they all, it's a...
No walkouts.
No, it's a daft book with some brilliant Cole Porter songs. The weird thing is, you sit there thinking, okay, well, this isn't exactly a sort of an integrated book musical, because the songs come and they say the one point, and then the show carries on. There's some great gags in there. Sutton Foster was fine. I don't get the deal with her being, she's all. There's not much going on behind the eyes, I feel, but she sung the role incredibly well. She's a brilliant dancer. I thought the kind of British legends were more interesting to watch.
You can't all be Ethel Merman.
No, or Patti LuPone, who did it as well on Broadway, and the tap dancing was brilliant. The orchestra was very, very good. It was just nice. It's interesting. It was the show that kind of launched America out of the Great Depression. So I think it's no coincidence that we're having shows like this and Hairspray, which kind of was the post 9/11 musical on Broadway to really bring people to bring people's spirits up.
What was the age mix like in the audience?
Well, it's interesting. I sat in front of a child who was really enjoying the music, but completely lost during the book scenes, which is understandable because some of the scenes are a bit long. And there's physical comedy. A lot of young musical theatre people were there, mostly to see Sutton Foster, I think, because it is exciting that she is treading the boards in England. It's not really her West End debut, though, is it? It's just her London
Well,
debut.
you weren't excited at all by Sutton Foster,
Well,
clearly.
But it's not her West End debut because the Barbican isn't in the West End. I do picture this show transferring, though, because this show did get, I think, 3 standing ovations in total. So one after the end of Act 1, which is Anything Goes, one after Blow Gabriel Blow, and one after the at the end. So that's quite exciting to see that. And the cast, mostly Art Said ensemble, are working their Art Seds off, you could say. It's a very, very tight production. It's directed by Kathleen Marshall, who's Rob Marshall's sister, who did the choreography as well, so keep it in the family. And it was nice to go and see it on a whim, which is always the most exciting thing about being kind of Londoners, isn't it? You can just, I want to see that show today. What other shows, because you're getting out and about now, aren't you?
I think it's called Making Up for Lost Time.
Yeah.
So I'm much more open-minded about seeing almost everything. It's like, oh, okay, well, let's get a cheap
Even
seat.
Mamma Mia.
Even Mamma Mia, yeah.
Which you've avoided for 25 years, haven't you?
It's good.
I mean, they might have... are they doing a third film?
They might do.
Are there any small songs left?
Yeah.
Are there ones people know?
I can't remember how many other songs there are. I think it's about. I'm sure it's around 100.
Because you want to return to the party, don't you? I mean, that was one of the greatest moments of your life.
The party was pretty impressive, though.
I can't remember if we ever talked about it on the podcast. I think we did, but tell us your memories of Mamma Mia, the party.
The food,
yes,
the music, I think just
the
being
theming.
the theming, just being in that kind of going into that. It's like it's going into a set, isn't it? Like a living set, and you get your welcome drink up from the Greek bar at the front before you take your seat, and you just kind of let it kind of wash over you, like you're on. It does feel like being on holiday for a night, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it was very silly, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, completely. But it knows it is.
Yeah,
it knows it is.
It's kind of set in the Mamma Mia film.
Yes, the Mamma Mia universe.
Yes, the MMU.
Like, yeah.
But it's set on the film set of the film.
Yes, that's quite meta, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like we're gonna be set. It's all filming. It's and it's where it filmed, and it's some of the cast and crew of.
Because they're closing the taverna, aren't they? So they put on a concert to raise funds or something. I mean, it's utterly ridiculous.
And they pick some of the more obscure songs, which was quite nice.
Yeah. Like
So
which
when
one?
you say,
How many songs are left?
I let the music speak.
Oh.
That's one of the.
Oh, so I
obscure
thought you were
songs.
actually going to sort of sing a song by ABBA and let
I'm not. There's no singing. No singing. Copyright. No.
let the music speak for itself. But it had fire, didn't it? It's all coming back to me now, to quote another song from another musical. But we had. Do you remember the flames rising up from when something happens with the cigarette? But anyway, so you'll return to that, and you think, Gareth,
I'm going to get saving. Yeah, I'm going to get saving for that because it's not cheap.
No, but it's really worth it. I mean, you've seen it. Obviously, we are very happy. We are very lucky to be able to go and see it. But you would pay to see it again, wouldn't you? It was that good. Because the meal is worth it alone, isn't it? And you weren't expecting unlimited starters.
I know, my face, a look of joy when she's like, yes, if you need more, just ask us.
And you had a whole bottle of wine to yourself, didn't you?
Allegedly, yes.
You did, listener. I've got lots planned. I am going to be seeing, and we'll cover this on the podcast as much as we can, Singing in the Rain, which is back. It's nice to have all these kind of shows just randomly appearing for a few months and then disappearing, isn't it?
Yep.
So I'm seeing Singing in the Rain. I'm seeing Mary Poppins, which I'm looking forward to seeing. 6, of course, has to be seen again because it's wonderful. And and also what else? Probably get back to Wicked, and probably, and like you, Andrew, I just want to see everything, and Back to the Future as well. We're looking forward to seeing.
Carousel at Regent's Park Open Air Theatre.
Yes, set in London. Or set in somewhere in England, which is bizarre. In the modern day, I've heard. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I've heard it's been completely...
Where have you heard this? Why have I not heard it?
I don't know. You should go and see it and report back. Because I'm not massively interested in seeing it.
You don't like Carousel?
Not really. This had a real Carousel in it. I want them to close Cinderella and put Carousel on in there with the Revolve. That would be fun.
The last one I saw had a projected Carousel, which was even better.
What, onto, was it projected onto an actual blank carousel?
It's like, oh, it looks like it's 3D, come to life.
Oh dear. What other stuff do you have planned, Andrew? For the foregoing...
For the rest of my life?
Yeah, for the ongoing future.
For the ongoing future.
Foreseeable future.
Well, what else is coming out? There's going to be a Jesus Christ Superstar Anniversary Special Edition. 3 CDs.
Yeah, because we all have CDs now.
Wow, and I know... I think how rare it is now. People having CD.
It'll probably be released on vinyl as well.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are kind of releasing the original album on vinyl as a special edition. That's true. But there's a third CD.
Yes.
A third CD coming with kind of rarities and guide vocals and demos and other bits.
It's worth buying for that alone, isn't it?
It's incredibly expensive. I think it's about 70 quid.
God, because Andrew needs the money. And also, there's a book as well, you said, or was that less...
I think it's coming with a book.
Is it liner notes, or is it an actual book?
I'd have to have another look at it. I was a bit like, a third CD. A song I've not heard of.
About figs?
Oh, no. Apparently there was a song... Apparently they might have written a song around the fig tree, but that might never have been recorded. It's like, well, I don't know anything about that.
Tie a yellow ribbon around the old fig tree.
Yeah. No, there's on the track listing. There's a song called "What a Party."
Okay.
So what's that? I don't know.
What tune has he stolen for that? We don't know. We'll find out. And also, Frozen. I mean, have you seen the beautiful renovation of the Theatre Royal Drury Lane? It looks absolutely stunning, and I'm quite looking forward to Frozen. Jonathan Cohen said he'd go and see that. So
I have to remember earlier on I did say I was being open-minded. So
yes.
Okay, yeah, maybe even Frozen.
You never saw Phantom of the Opera, did you?
The brilliant original,
No.
which is now gone forever.
The new original will be back.
It's back already.
Yeah. Have you seen pictures of it? Are you tempted to go?
I saw people arguing online about who did and didn't have a face mask on, and how hot the theatre was. And
Well, they've been wearing a mask in that show for 45 years. You think it would be easy to do?
Head of the curve.
So,
but it doesn't fully cover his nose and mouth, so
no.
it's not quite right.
And the show artwork has a full mask on it, and it's always weird how it's never been the right mask in the show's branding material, but I guess there's a reason for that. There are children playing outside, which is why you can hear them.
You've
scream.
not kidnapped any? No, good.
I am looking forward to seeing Phantom, seeing what they do with it. As I said, but I think as always, it's Back to the Future that's the kind of the big show that I'm looking forward to seeing. So I should be seeing that a couple of days after it opens. And
But you've seen it, haven't you? Did you see it in Manchester?
I saw it in Manchester. I want to see if there are any changes that have been made. But there are some bits in that show that are so theatrically amazing. You just want to go again and see it for that moment to kind of remind you, did they actually do that? Did it have that amazing? Oh, yes, they did. Maybe they've improved it. Maybe they've cut some of the songs, which it probably does need. But it's such a good story, and it's so nice that there's an official musical of it that's been approved, not only approved, but written by Bob Gale and Bob Zemeckis, and it's a really, really wonderful show, and I look forward to seeing it again.
I quite like the idea we've got some filler shows at the moment. So
yes.
Walking past Book of Mormon yesterday, and they're putting the Windsors live.
Yes, I noticed that.
That's quite a nice idea, isn't it? Just like, okay, well,
in the Prince Charles Theatre, or Prince of Wales Theatre, which is quite funny. And is Harry Enfield in that as well? With
Harry Enfield's in that, and then some of the casts, not some of the casts in the TV show, but not all of them.
But yet, Upstart Crow never really started. Do you remember there was a play of that for about 2 minutes before?
Was there?
Yeah.
It's like we've gone back in time, isn't it? And that whole idea of kind of adapting like TV comedies into a play. Like,
yes. I mean,
to a Hello, cast for Hello went into the West End.
They
Wine
did.
being served.
Well, we've got the Only Fools and Horses musical as well. Whether that's coming back or not, I don't know. But Heathers is doing very well. Would you see Heathers?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I think.
Yeah, I only saw Heathers, the film, within the last couple of years because I think it was the Arrow Video did remastered it, and so it came back. There were some cinema screenings, and that was one of the things. I saw trailers for it and thought, okay, let's give that a go.
I'll see the show. We can go to that, but I've never seen the film, so it's we have a nice kind of pairing dichotomy going on.
Sometimes these things are better if you've not seen the film.
I know,
because you can just judge it for what it is on its own merit rather than what it is in comparison to another version.
When we saw Legally Blonde, had you seen the film?
Yes,
because I hadn't, so that was my pure experience going in to see Legally Blonde. And shush, and we went to see Sheridan Smith, who is brilliant as Elle Woods.
These children have had to listen to Nick's music
for 5 years.
For 5 years, that's why they're screaming.
And I absolutely agree with you. It's nice going in. There's nothing, whether it's a show based on a story or whether it's a brand new musical. For me, there's nothing more exciting than going into a theatre having no idea what to expect.
Sometimes that's the best way. So
yes.
With Be More Chill, that was my experience. Like, I don't look at anything about it, just obviously the poster image, the poster art, that was about it.
Did you know the bathroom song?
No.
Michael in the bath.
Well, I know it now, but not beforehand.
It's had like 1 billion views on TikTok or something like that.
I'm too old for TikTok.
I know, me too, but that's what my young friends told me on when we discussed Be More Chill. Did you enjoy that?
I'm a bit old for it, but yes. Yeah.
It seemed to me, and I said that and Dear Evan Hansen, it's the kind of angsty teenagery musical, but both of which are done very, very well.
I'm actually thinking about filler shows when we saw The Comeback.
Yes,
that was where Dear Evan Hansen will come back into.
The Comeback was a lovely little piece, a very clever sort of two-hander, but not really. Farce, would you say?
Yeah.
Morecambe and Wise, Play What I Wrote-ish. But
because it has a special celebrity guest each night. Yeah,
that I never heard of. So, I mean, when I saw Play What I Wrote, Sting came on stage. So I think the level of celebrity was probably a bit better for the Play What I Wrote. But also the whole kind of Morecambe and Wise thing, double act. But it was very well done and very, very sweet. So thank you, Andrew. You're very good at finding all this random stuff that I would have never...
That's lockdown for you.
Exactly. And you're really enjoying getting to do it now, aren't you? Mm-hmm. So, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on to Musical Talk. Anything else you want to share before we end this lovely episode?
No, thank you, Nicholas.
All right, Andrew. We'll speak to you soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
For more information about Musical Talk, please visit our website at musicaltalk.co.uk. You can email us at feedback@musicaltalk.co.uk, listen to past episodes on iTunes and YouTube, and follow our social media channels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.